Hello, everyone. Here we go. You know what time it is. It's well, I guess it depends on what time zone you're in as to what time it is. Let me check my sound real quick. The usual. Oh, come on. It's working. Good. So welcome everybody. This is Jay Baldale. I'm ready to bring you a little more of these Hermetic teachings on a Hermes day, a Mercury day, Wednesday. That's what today is. For anybody who didn't know, for anybody who still hasn't figured that out, that's today. And that's the energy today. So this might pack an extra punch, huh? Or maybe it won't. Time will tell. I hope you're all having a wonderful day though. And there's one of the MVPs now, one of the hardest hitters of them all, one true goddess. Always great to see you. Welcome in. I hope you're having a great day. Not bad. It's one of those days where a whole spring is certainly working its way towards us. Even though in the upcoming forecast we're going to still have some cold and rainy and snowy type of days. As of right now, today is a nice sunny day. Beautiful. And say where you're at, it is a cold, rainy day. We'll make sure that that inner sunshine is what you're gravitating towards if you're somebody who hates that anyway. I know some people get real depressed, real saddened, real down in the dumps when it's like a cold and a rainy day and all that. But you do have that inner sunshine you can go back to. And nobody can take that away from you. Nobody, nobody. I mean, some people might try to, yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, then. So, welcome to the few of you popping in. We'll see who else might pop in, who might pop out. All kinds of popping going on lately. And as I've said before, sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try to help other people pop their bubble. They just don't want to do it. Welcome in, all of you just coming in. See, there they are, popping in. Dub VT says, Peace J, peace one true. I'm out and about, but definitely listening. Got the headphones on. Great to see you, Dub. No worries. Take care of your duties, your daily, your responsibilities, whatever you got going on. But I'm glad to have your presence always. I hope it's a wonderful day for you over on the East Coast. Okay, well, since we love our comfortable bubbles so much, let's see what the tarot wants to tell us about our comfortable bubble. Shuffle these cards up and see what it is for the day. And then we'll go ahead and get into the book. Once Your Goddess also brought up a really good point. She said that the card yesterday, once he and I even overlooked that. So it happens to the best of us. Not that I'm considering myself the best of us. In fact, hardly anybody out here should be considering themselves the best of us, but there are a couple. There definitely are a couple that are pretty good. And then there are more that are just pretty good talkers. But we don't need to get into all that. The point she brought up, what we need to get into is what I was saying about what Once Your Goddess said, was that we pulled that nine, and Yesod is also known as the foundation, right? And she was saying that actually was tying into what we were reading a lot. So that was a very good observation. And so sometimes those lights might turn on in the places you might not be looking for them, or even in those darkest of places. All right, let's give it one more shuffle and then pull. Here we go. Shuffle, card. What do I see? I see a court card or a trump card. Oh, court card indeed. I was right the first time. Well, and there he is again, the angel who carries forth the Holy Grail, the Knight of Cups. But in Crowley's Book of Thoth, the knight is the equivalent of the king, seated on horseback, those angel wings, which have kind of a watery nature to them. You see the peacock down here, who also looks like it's a wave, like a wave of the water. This is the fire of water. So this kind of like that Queen of Wands is looked at in that alchemical mixture. Well, this is the other card that could be looked at in that alchemical mixture of harmonizing water and fire. He carries the Holy Grail in his hand as he marches forward, and it also kind of looks like that Holy Grail has some sunshine to it. That's the light that's shining forth. That crab on there too, Cancer. Even though this card actually goes more into when you're looking at the deacons of the zodiac, I'm pretty sure it goes into Pisces. I think it goes from Aquarius into Pisces, if I'm remembering correctly. Some of those things I don't have quite locked in. I do know for sure it's got that Piscean element, but we also do see the crab there, the cardinal water sign. Cardinal we could look at as like those signs that lead, those signs that say, "Come on, everyone, this way." So what is he telling us? What is he telling us right now? What is this card telling us? The alchemical component, but I think more so keeping our sights set on the Holy Grail and the angel. We could even see maybe that's got the guardian angel there a bit. And the green suit he has on actually looks a lot like the suit in this deck that the Fool has on. So maybe this is the Fool card and hidden in disguise a little bit. I bet Crowley definitely had that done. Nothing was by mistake with this particular deck. So we're keeping our sights set on the Holy Grail. We're keeping our sights set on the symbolism of that, the pursuit of the Holy Guardian Angel, the pursuit of our purpose in this life, and the way that we move as we try to see the way that divinity is always communicating to us. But it can be tricky at times. You gotta really use that discernment. That is big time key. And so if we're looking at those wings on there as a symbol of air, even though there's not, traditionally there's not really an elemental thing, but sometimes I think it's important to read into the cards as we see them in front of us. And so if that's an airy thing, that those wings on his back, well, air, viveka, the sword, discernment, choosing what thoughts serve this highest and greatest good, and what thoughts are just not even worth a second thought. Make sure you're using that discernment. As I've said, keep your head on a swivel out here, or otherwise, you just might get sold up a pretty little lie. So, let's see how that's going to tie in with our book read of the day. Let's see how that's going to tie in with these chapters of the Hermetica we're going to get into. Let's see, we left off. Oh no, not there. I must have put the bookmark in the wrong place. Chapter 10 is where we left off. Yep. The birth of human culture. Let me get a little water real quick, and then we'll do it. Oh, I don't think I said the part about welcome to anybody new as well. Anybody who comes across this content, this is your first time popping in over here on this channel. If you end up enjoying this content, be sure to hit a like, share, and subscribe. And it's great to have you. All right, let's do it. Chapter 10, The birth of human culture. In this chapter, Hermes describes how human beings became civilized and created culture under the guidance of the god Osiris and the goddess Isis. As human beings slowly awoke to their surroundings, they looked around at their new home and gazed on the creation in awe and wonder. Looking upon the perfection of the cosmos, humanity felt the need to share in the pleasure of creativity. The Creator therefore ordered each of the planetary gods to share with mankind a part of their creative power. The Hermetica teaches that the universe will not be finished until mankind has played his part in the story. The arts and sciences invented by humanity complete the grand plan of destiny. Art completes what nature cannot finish. All those who cooperate with the will of the Creator apply their skill and knowledge to enhance the beauty of the cosmos. So see right there. Right there. That's the Holy Grail. The ancient Egyptians believed that all the knowledge necessary for humanity's survival on Earth had been taught to their ancestors by Isis and Osiris. The goddess Isis taught people the arts of sowing and animal husbandry, ensuring that they did not starve, and she showed them the healing uses of herbs and medicine to care for the body. She taught people respect for the dead, how to wrap their bodies in bandages soaked in oil and spices to care for their memories with offerings with fruits and flowers. Osiris gave people laws and justice, and instituted the rites of worship that kept men humble and honest. He ordained the first priests who were trained to nurture men's souls through the proper use of philosophy and learning. Together, these parents of the human race were believed by the ancient Egyptians to have lifted their ancestors out of savagery. In life, Isis continued to look after humanity, and Osiris, the Lord of the Souls, watched over the spirits of the dead. They were worshipped for thousands of years at temples all over Egypt until late Roman times. All right, the birth of human culture. Humanity looked in awe upon the beauty and everlasting duration of creation. The exquisite sky flooded with sunlight, the majesty of the dark night lit by celestial torches as the holy planetary powers traced their paths in the heavens in fixed and steady meter, ordering the growth of things with their secret infusions. Men looked with wonder and questioning, and having observed the Maker's masterpiece, wanted to create things for themselves. Their Father gave permission, so the gods who administer the cosmos each shared with humanity a part of their power. Since the world is Atum's handiwork, those who maintain and enhance its beauty are cooperating with the will of Atum by contributing their bodily strength in daily care and labor to make things assume the shape which his purpose has designed. There you go. There's some true will type right there. Some knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel type right there. Chance is movement without order, and skill is the force which creates order. The earth is kept in order by means of humanity's knowledge and application of the arts and sciences. For Atum willed that the universe should not be complete until man had played his part. Atum, the fabricator of the cosmos, graced the earth for a long time with our great father Osiris and the great goddess Isis, that they might give us the help we so much needed. They brought humanity divine religion and stopped the savagery of mutual slaughter. They did. They established rites of worship in correspondence to the sacred powers of the heavens. They consecrated temples and instituted sacrificial offerings to the gods that were their ancestors. They gave the gifts of food and shelter. They taught men to swathe the decaying corpses of the dead. Having learnt Atum's secret laws, they became lawgivers to humankind. They introduced the mighty god of oaths as founder of pledges and good faith, and so filled the world with justice. They devised the initiation and training of the prophet priests so that through philosophy they might nurture men's souls and cure sickness of the body with the healing arts. That does it. Chapter 10, already done. Yep, and I think man will benefit greatly by reuniting those things because the sciences, the fields of like medicine and things like that are so very important, but also so are those spiritual things, like a spiritual medicine, which philosophy can certainly provide, especially when it's the good stuff. But the problem is there's kind of been that divide, and also kind of part of the problem is there's just a whole lot of junk out here, a whole lot, but it'll find its way into that balanced place eventually. Might take a bit, but it'll get there. So in the meantime, we'll just worry about that on the inner level, which is going to help to bring about that knowledge and conversation we're working so hard to obtain. All right, chapter 11. Man is a marvel. In this chapter, Hermes discusses the nature of mankind and its special relationship with God. God, the cosmos, and man are the three great beings. There you go. Generator, cosmodbener, man-stroyer. That sounded like crap. That wasn't very good. But there's a new spin on that trinity yet again. God, the cosmos, and man. The cosmos is an image of God, and man is an image of the cosmos. Each is made up of many parts, yet each is greater than the sum of these parts. Man was created to be a vehicle through which God could continue to bring order and beauty to the cosmos. All beings have soul, the life force within them, but only human beings possess the power of mind, with which we can contemplate the cosmos and come to know God. Human beings are the meeting place of spirit and matter. We have, therefore, a dual nature. We are mind enclosed by a physical body. The human mind is an image of God's mind. It is immortal, eternal, divine, and free. The human body, on the other hand, is mortal and controlled by the laws of destiny, which are governed by the stars. Hermes dares to suggest that this unique dual nature even places human beings above the gods. The gods, the heavenly bodies, are confined within their permanent orbits in the heavens and will never move beyond them. A human being, however, may both be on the earth and, through the power of his mind, ascend to the heavens. In the 20th century, we have used this power to journey literally to the stars and reach back through telescopes to see the origin of the universe. Oh man, but I've heard on the Joe Rogan podcast that the moon landing was fake. Oh no, I heard people say that the planets aren't real. Boy, howdy, we are swimming in it out here, aren't we? Being both spirit and matter, man is an intermediary being, or excuse me, is an intermediary between these two great principles, spirit and matter. He is greater than beings who are merely mortal, and above those who are purely immortal. He shares in the creative power of God. He even, with his mind, creates gods in his own human image. Hermes concludes that man is a marvel, worthy of wonder and reverence, a sentiment that fueled the humanism of the Renaissance. The purpose of human life is to rise above our merely human nature and awaken our divine nature. Human beings have the unique potential to know God, and God's greatest wish is that we fulfill this potential. Man is a marvel. Autumn is first, the cosmos is second, and man is third. Autumn is one, the cosmos is one, and so is man. For like the cosmos, he is a whole made up of different diverse parts. The Maker made man to govern with him, and if man accepts this function fully, he becomes a vehicle of order in the cosmos. Man may know himself, and so know the cosmos by being aware that he is an image of Autumn and of the cosmos. He differs from other living things in that he possesses mind. Through mind, he may commune with the cosmos, which is the second God, and by thought, he may come to knowledge of Atum, the one God. There you go. See? By knowledge, by thought, you may come to knowledge of Atum. So shout out my fellow knowledge addicts out here. The human body encloses pure mind, as if within a walled garden, which shelters and secludes it, so that it may live in peace. Man has this twofold nature. In his body he is mortal, and in his intelligence he is immortal. He is exalted above heaven, but is born a slave to destiny. He is bisexual, as his father is bisexual. He is sleepless, as his father is sleepless. Yet he is dominated by carnal desires and lost in forgetfulness. Of all beings that have soul, only man has a twofold nature. One part, called the image of Atum, is single, undivided, spiritual, and eternal. The other part is made of the four material elements. One comes from the primal mind. It has the power of the Creator and is able to know Atum. The other is put in man by the revolution of the heavens. Man is the most divine of all beings, for amongst all living things, Atum associates with him only, speaking to him in dreams at night, foretelling the future for him in the flight of birds, the boughs of beasts, and the whispering oak. All of other living things inhabit only one part of the cosmos: fishes in water, animals on the earth, birds in the air. Man penetrates all of these elements. With his sense of sight, he even grasps the heavens. To speak without fear, human beings are above the gods of heaven, or at least they're equal. For the gods will never pass their celestial boundaries and descend to earth. But a man may ascend to heaven, and what is more, he may do so without leaving the earth. So vast an expanse can his power encompass. By Atum's will, humankind is compacted of both divinity and mortality. He is more than merely mortal, and greater than the purely immortal. Man is a marvel, due honor and reverence. He takes on the attributes of the gods as if he were one of their number. He is familiar with the gods because he knows he springs from the same source. He raises reverent eyes to heaven above and tends the earth below. He is blessed by being the intermediary. He loves all below him and is loved by all above him. Confident of his divinity, he throws off his sullied human nature. He has access to all. His keenness of thought descends to the depths of the sea. Heaven is not too high for the reach of his wisdom. His quick wits penetrate the elements. Air cannot blind his mental vision with its thickest fog. Dense earth cannot impede him. Deep water cannot blur his gaze. Man is all things. Man is everywhere. Man not only receives the light of divine life, but gives it as well. He not only ascends to God, but even creates gods. Just as Atum has willed that the inner man be created in his likeness, so we on earth create the gods in our human image. Is this not worthy of wonder? There are then these three: Atum, Cosmos, Man. The cosmos is contained by Atum. Man is contained by the cosmos. The cosmos is the son of Atum. Man is the son of the cosmos, and the grandson, so to speak, of Atum. Atum does not ignore man, but acknowledges him fully, as he wishes to be fully acknowledged by man, for this alone is man's purpose and salvation, the ascent to heaven, and the knowledge of Atum. Fish Dog, what up? Says, I remember me from the other day. I remember you from the other day too, yesterday. That wasn't too far ago. Good to see you. Hopefully, you're having a good day. and welcome back. All right, then. So, chapter 12, the zodiac and destiny. You think they made that one chapter 12 on purpose? Or you think it just worked out that way? Okay. In this chapter, Hermes explains the power of the zodiac that controls the fate of men and the possibility of becoming free from its limiting constraints. God created humans to appreciate the awesome wonder of his universe, to be themselves a beautiful embellishment of the cosmos, and to share in God's creative powers and participate in the work of creation. The heavenly gods, who the planets, who had already bestowed on man some of their own power, now urged the Creator to be cautious. They fear that man will use his inquisitive mind for destructive as well as constructive purposes. Man's powers, they complain, are too great and unlimited, and therefore dangerous to himself and the order of the cosmos. God responds to their concerns by creating the zodiac. This celestial mechanism will control the fate of men and be ruled over by the goddess Destiny. She sows the seeds of a person's fate, which grow and develop under the constraints of necessity, the limits and demands of physical nature to shape every human life. It is a man's lot to live the life prescribed for him by his fate. Very few human beings are capable of escaping from the determining influence of the zodiac. Man's earthly life is controlled by the power of destiny through the physical limitations of the mortal human body. However, if a man's mind is illuminated by the light of God, he becomes free from these celestial influences. For even the gods are powerless before God. Hermes teaches that it is our duty not simply to acquiesce in our fate, but rather, through intense contemplation of God, to rise above our merely mortal nature and awaken our immortal soul. The zodiac and destiny. When the Creator had created this beautifully ordered universe, he wanted to order the world also. So he sent down man, a mortal creature made in the image of an immortal being, to be an embellishment of the divine body of the cosmos. It is man's function to complete the work of Atum. He was made to view the universe with awe and wonder, and to come to know its maker. At first, the heavenly gods complained, saying, "You are being rash in creating humanity. They see with inquisitive eyes and hear what they have no right to hear. They reach out with audacious hands. They will dig up the roots of plants and investigate the properties of stones. They will dissect the lower animals and one another also. They will seek to discover how it is that they are alive and what is hidden within. They will cut down the woods of their native land and sail across the sea to see what lies there. They will dig mines and search the utmost depths of the earth. All this might be bearable, but they will do much more. They will press on to explore the world above, seeking by observation to discover the laws that govern the movements of the heavens." Hey, what are you playing with that for? These kitties. Autumn replied, "I will build the zodiac, a secret mechanism in the stars linked to unerring and inevitable fate. The lives of men, from birth to final destruction, shall be controlled by the hidden workings of this mechanism." And when the mechanism began to work, the keen eyed goddess Destiny supervised and checked its movements. Through this mechanism, destiny and necessity are cemented together. Destiny sows the seeds, necessity compels the results. In the wake of destiny and necessity comes order, the interweaving of events in time. Atum implants each human soul in flesh by means of the gods who circle in heaven. It is man's lot to live his life according to the fate determined for him by these circling celestial powers, and then to pass away and be resolved into the elements. There are some whose name will live on, through the memorials of their mighty handiwork, but the names of many will fade into darkness. Few can escape their fate or guard against the terrible influence of the zodiac, for the stars are instruments of destiny, which bring all things to pass in the world of men. If, however, the rational part of man's soul is illuminated by a single ray of autumn's light, the workings of these gods is as nothing, for all gods are powerless before the supreme light. But such men are few. Most are led and driven by the gods which govern earthly life, using our bodies as the instruments of destiny. To my way of thinking, however, it is our duty not simply to acquiesce in our human state, but through intense contemplation of divine things to detach ourselves from our merely mortal nature. All right, chapter 12, done. Hmm. Okay, we still got plenty of time. Chapter 13, the universal and the particular. In this chapter, Hermes clarifies how the zodiac makes each individual member of the human species unique. Everything has a form. A table, for example, is a horizontal surface supported by legs. This is the universal form which all tables share. Every individual table shares the universal form of all tables, but it also has a unique particular form by which we know it to be this table and not that one. One table is large and made of oak, another table is small and made of plastic. Both are unique, and yet both are still tables. If anything deviates too far from this universal form, we would no longer call it a table. If a table were to be smashed into pieces, for example, it would have changed form and we would now call it something else. Firewood, perhaps. Everything is a particular version of a universal form. Every animal, for example, is both unique and a member of a particular species. All human beings share the quality of being human, but each individual has unique characteristics by which we may tell them apart from other members of our species. Each one of us is a particular version of the universal form, human being. This quality of humanness is unchanging and permanent. We are very different from our ancestors, but we are no more human. The particular forms are always changing. In a single human life, we change from being a baby to become an adult and finally an elder. We never remain the same, yet birth, mortality, and death are all contained within the universal form of a human life. Hermes compares the constant universal forms to the fixed constellations of the stars. He compares the changing particular forms to the changing relationships between the stars as they revolve in the heavens. Our fundamental human nature remains the same throughout our life, but our individual fate changes in accordance with the constantly changing pattern of the stars. As in astrology, Hermes teaches that our individual destiny is created by the positions of the planets at our moment of birth. These are the gods who take charge of us, controlling our bodies and shaping our souls. The universal and the particular. Autumn arranged the constellations of the zodiac in harmony with the movements of nature, and charged them with producing all the forms of the animals. When these gods had used their different powers, there emerged four-footed beasts, creeping things, fishes and winged birds, grass and flowering herbs, all according to their different natures, and each containing the seed of the continuance of their species. Every living thing has its own unique form, given to it by the power of the zodiac. This form is appropriate to its species, yet each is individual. The human race, for example, shares a common universal form by which we know that a man is a man. Yet all human beings have a distinctly different particular form, of which no two are entirely alike. Each particular form is unique because it inhabits a unique time and place. The particular forms change in every moment of every hour, as the gods of the zodiac revolve in their celestial circle. The universal forms do not change, just as the constellations remain the same. But instant by instant, the particular forms transform as the sphere of heaven changes as it turns. The sky is wet then dry, cold then hot, bright then dark, but these rapidly alternating forms are all subsumed under the universal unchanging form of the sky. The earth is ever changing, generating, producing, yielding different crops, yet it remains the earth. Water may be standing or flowing, but it is still water. The human body is an earthly temple constructed by the power of the zodiac, which makes myriad forms from simple archetypes. There are 12 signs of the zodiac, and the forms they produce fall into 12 divisions. They are, however, inseparably united in their action. Nature makes the human body so that its constitution resonates with the patterns of the stars in such a way that they mutually affect one another. When we are born, the planetary gods who are at that time on duty as ministers of birth take charge of us. These particular powers that change according to the rotation of the planets make their way in through the body and mold the shape of our souls. They penetrate our nerves and marrow, veins and arteries, even our innermost organs. All right, then. Hmm. All right, chapter 14, Incarnation of the Soul. In this chapter, Hermes reveals how souls incarnate into physical bodies. All souls share the same essential nature. They are neither male nor female. As such, differentiating characteristics exist only in the body. All souls are a part of the one soul of the cosmos. God has two servants which look after souls. The keeper of souls cares for disembodied souls, and the conductor of souls sends them down into physical incarnation. Nature creates the individual body into which a soul incarnates. The power that Hermes calls memory ensures that this body conforms to the universal form of the human species. The power Hermes calls skill makes sure that each individual body is a fitting home for the particular soul it houses. Our individual characteristics are governed by the qualities of the gods presiding over the moment of our incarnation. If the gods present at our birth, if the gods present at our birth are peaceful, we will be peaceful by nature. If they are warlike, we will be aggressive. This is why astrologers say, for example, that those born at the time of Aries have certain characteristics, whilst those born at the time of Capricorn have a different nature. Those gods who accompany the soul at the moment of birth affect the instinctual nature of the soul. Those that have their effect later in adolescence affect the rational part of the soul. Before it incarnates, the soul is already wrapped in a spiritual body. When this wrapping is thin and clear, the soul is intelligent. However, when this wrapping is dense and opaque, the soul has limited vision and is only aware of its immediate situation. As a soul sinks into incarnation, it forgets its own nature and takes on the qualities of the gods who have shut it into a human body. Hermes describes a vision of disembodied souls about to make their journey into a physical form. They are filled with fear and horror at the fate which awaits them. They cannot bear the prospect of such imprisonment. All right, incarnation of the soul. All souls are parts of one soul, which is the soul of the cosmos. Souls all have one nature. They are neither male nor female. Such differences of sex arise only in the body. In the world above, there are two gods who are servants of Atum's goodness, called the Keeper of Souls and the Conductor of Souls. The Keeper is in charge of disembodied souls. The Conductor sends down these souls from time to time into physical incarnation. Nature works alongside these gods, making mortal vessels into which souls are poured. Nature also has two assistants called memory and skill. Memory ensures that nature creates individual forms that are copies of the primal universal forms. Skill ensures that the individual frame is fashioned in conformity with the soul which will embody it, seeing to it that lively souls have lively bodies. Sluggish souls have sluggish bodies. Powerful souls have powerful bodies. The soul, which is spiritual, has its own wrappings, which are also spiritual. These are coats made of air. When such coats are thin and transparent, the soul is intelligent. When they are dense and muddied, like the air in stormy weather, the soul cannot see far, but is only aware of its immediate predicament. The differences in character of the Pharaohs are not determined by the nature of their soul, for all kingly souls are godlike, but by the gods that escort the soul into incarnation. Souls of such quality that incarnate for so high a purpose do not descend without attendance, for divine justice knows how to assign to each his due, even when exiled from the happy land. When the soul is accompanied by warlike gods, this Pharaoh will wage war. When the gods are peaceful, he will maintain peace. When they are musical, he will make music. When they are just, he will rule wisely. When they are lovers of truth, he will be a philosopher. For souls, by necessity, cling to the temperament of the gods who bring them down to earth. For when they sink into the human condition, they forget their own nature and are conscious only of the disposition of those who have shut them in this mortal tomb. The forces which accompany the soul do not arrive together. Some enter with the soul at the moment of birth and act on the irrational parts of the soul. The purer forces arrive at adolescence and cooperate with the rational part of the soul. I have seen a vision of souls about to be shut up in bodies. Some of them wailed and moaned. Some struggled against their doom, like noble beasts caught by crafty hunters and dragged away from their wild home. One shrieked and looking up and down exclaimed, O heaven, source of being, bright shining stars and unfailing sun and moon, light and life, breath of the one, all you that share our home. How cruel it is that we are being torn away from such celestial splendor. We are to be expelled from this holy atmosphere and from the blissful life we live here, to be imprisoned in a mean and sorry place. What hard necessities wait for us? What hateful things will we have to do to meet the needs of a body that will quickly perish? Yeah, what hateful things indeed. Our eyes will see little, and only through the fluid which these orbs contain. And when we see our vast heavenly home contracted to a size as small as an eye, our sorrow will never cease. We shall not even see clearly, for we have been condemned to darkness. And when we hear our brothers and sisters blowing with the wind, we shall grieve that we are no longer breathing in unison with them. Heavy, heavy on that one. Kicking and screaming down into your incarnation as a human. Please don't make me go. How many of you were like that going to school, going to work? Preschool. No, no, no. All right, let's see. We still got time for some more. Easy. Chapter 15, Death and Immortality. In this chapter, Hermes explores the nature of death and the fate of the soul which survives it. From mankind's perspective, time is a destroyer. Through the process of time, we age and die. From a cosmic perspective, time is an endlessly repeating cycle measured by the constant revolutions of the stars. Whilst the things of the earth are always changing, the orbits of the stars always remain the same. Hermes asks, could something as impermanent and transitory as our earthly existence be regarded as anything other than an illusion? Yet this illusion arises from an underlying permanent reality. The discovery of the permanent within the impermanent is the reward of the spiritual quest. Hermes teaches that we must accept the inevitable, transitory nature of all physical things. Everything is in a process of being born and then dying. The old must pass away so that the new can come into existence. New shoots are born from the decaying remains of old vegetation, and these new shoots will in turn eventually decay and die. He teaches, however, that a human birth is not the beginning of the soul, only of its incarnation as that particular person. Death is simply the end of this particular person and the soul's transformation into another state. Death is just the discarding of a worn out body. Most people are ignorant of this fact and therefore needlessly fear death. After leaving the body at death, the individual soul is judged by the chief of the gods to see if it is pure and honorable. Pure souls are assigned to a heavenly realm. Ignorant souls fall once again into the material realms and are reincarnated. A soul which during its earthly life has come to know God will have become all mind. When it leaves the body, it takes on a body of light and is freed from all limitations. Such an enlightened soul has recognized that its essential nature is godlike, and on death it communes with God. It has run the race of purity and is now completely spiritual and divine. Such a soul has become a god. Death and immortality. The end of becoming is the beginning of destruction. The end of destruction is the beginning of becoming. Everything on earth must be destroyed, for without destruction, nothing can be created. The new comes out of the old. Every birth of living flesh, like every growth of crop from seed, will be followed by destruction. But from decay comes renewal. Through the circling course of the celestial gods and the power of nature, who has her being in the being of Atum. For man, time is a destroyer, but for the cosmos, it is an ever turning wheel. These earthly forms that come and go are illusions. How can something be real which never stays the same? But these transitory illusory things arise from the underlying permanent reality. Birth is not the beginning of life, only of an individual awareness. Change into another state is not death, only the ending of this awareness. Most people are ignorant of the truth and therefore afraid of death, believing it to be the greatest of all evils. But death is only the dissolution of a worn out body. Our term of service as guardians of the world is ended when we are freed from the bonds of this mortal frame and restored, cleansed, and purified to the primal condition of our higher nature. After quitting the body, mind, which is divine by nature, is freed from all containment. Taking on a body of light, it ranges through all space, leaving the soul to be judged and punished according to its deserts. Souls do not all go to the same place, nor to different places at random. Rather, each is allocated to a place that fits its nature. When a soul leaves the body, it undergoes a trial and investigation by the chief of the gods. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about your little nothing matters ideas out here people have. Every culture seems to agree that this is the way it goes down. That you die and then you go to some type of a place of judgment, and then based on whether or not you were a complete and total piece of trash to the rest of your human beings out here and the planet, the earth, the cosmos, everything itself, Or maybe you weren't a complete and total one. Maybe like you were kind of good, but also kind of still a piece of trash. Well, guess what? Like you're the one who's going to have to deal with that at the end of the day. And yeah, good luck lying to the infinite. Good luck trying to NLP the infinite into thinking like, oh no, you don't get it, you don't get it. Like, well, it just whatever. Hey, it's all right. Keep lying to yourself and everybody else some more. Or maybe you're not doing that. Maybe you're somebody who you understand some seriousness of just not being trashy to people. And so good for you. Continue that. Keep that up. When he finds a soul to be honorable and pure, he allows it to live in a region that corresponds to its characteristics. But if he finds it stained with incurable ignorance, he hurls it down to the storms and whirlwinds, where it is eternally tossed between sky and earth on the billowing air. Only a good soul is spiritual and divine, having wronged no one and come to know Atum. Such a soul has run the race of purity and becomes all mind. After it leaves its physical form, it becomes a spirit in a body of light so that it may serve Atum. Yeah, and if you know how to read between the lines, sure. But still, at the end of the day, guess what? Um, yeah, just you can lie to yourself some more all you want. You can fool some of the people, you can fool most of the people most of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So please, everybody, keep your head on straight. Pay attention out here. At the dissolution of the body, first the physical form is transformed and is no longer visible. The vital spirit returns to the atmosphere. The bodily senses go back to the universe and recombine in new ways to do other work. Then the soul mounts upwards through the structures of the heavens. In the first zone, it is relieved of growth and decay. In the second, evil and cunning. In the third, lust and deceiving desire. In the fourth, domineering arrogance. In the fifth, unbalanced audacity and rashness. In the sixth, greed for wealth. In the seventh, deceit and falsehood. Oh man. Oh no. See what I mean? Yep, you're gonna just slide on by all them layers, huh? You're gonna pass the hall of judgment and slide all by all them layers, huh? Maybe. Maybe so. Having been stripped of all that was put upon it by the structures of the heavens, the soul now possesses its own proper power and may ascend to the eighth sphere, rejoicing with all those that welcome it, and singing psalms to the Father. The gods that dwell above the eighth sphere sing praises with a voice that is theirs alone. Let's see, I'm going to start that one back. The God that dwells above the eighth sphere sing praises with a voice that is theirs alone. Call each soul to surrender to the gods, and so each one becomes itself a god by entering communion with Atum. This is primal goodness. This is the consummation of true knowledge. Having been initiated into immortality, a human soul, now transformed into a god, joins the gods who dance and sing in celebration of the glorious victory of the soul. All right, let me see what we got left. How many chapters are left? Not that many. I'm going to do one more today and then we'll finish it up on the final session. And then on the couple of days in between, I'll probably hit us with something short and sweet. Or maybe we'll just take the days off. Who knows? We'll see. All right, chapter 16, Ignorance of the Soul. In this chapter, Hermes explains that human life is an opportunity to come to know God, but that to fulfill this divine purpose, we must cease to be enslaved by the body. The limitations imposed on the soul by the physical body mean that human life is inevitably difficult. But our hope of eternal life rests on how we live our present lives. Earthly existence is an opportunity to train the soul so that at death it does not lose its way but travels straight to heaven. Everything material, even our own body, is foreign to our essential spiritual nature. Unfortunately, we become so caught up with the transitory sensual pleasures of life that we are unaware of our eternal soul. The body should be the slave of the soul, not its master. Hermes assures us that there is a way to free ourselves from the torments of life. These, he tells us, are simply caused by our own ignorance. He exhorts us to free ourselves from our enslavement, develop our inner vision, and use the power of our mind to experience the mind of God. Why give yourselves to death when you could be immortal? He asks. Hermes assures us that the haven of peace awaits those who rise to his challenge. Man is made in the image of God and can therefore rise to become one with God. Only like can know like. It is our fear that separates us from the truth, our lack of belief in ourselves that binds us to the earth. Man has the power to ascend into heaven and yet crawls on his belly through the dust. In Hermes' eyes, mankind's greatest error is that he has the power to know God and yet does not use it. Simply wishing to know God is enough to set us on the road to enlightenment. The spiritual path is not difficult, for as we awaken from our ignorance, God comes to us at times and places where we least expect it. Suddenly, we are aware that God is with us. The end of the spiritual journey is the realization that He is everywhere and everything. Right, knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. Ignorance of the soul. It is impossible to be permanently happy while attached to a body. A man should train his soul in this life so that when he enters the other world where he is able to see Atum, he does not lose his way. Each soul's hope of eternal life rests in his life here on earth, but many cannot believe this, seeing it as an empty story to be laughed at. For the possessions of this life are too pleasant, and such pleasures grip the soul by the throat, holding it down to earth. Our possessions possess us. We were not born with possessions, but acquired them later. Everything a man uses to gratify his body is alien to his original godlike nature. Not only possessions, even the body is foreign to our true self. Is that true? The mind of the cosmos is known through thought alone. A soul with no inner vision is blind to Atum's goodness, tossed by the sea of passions which the body breathes. What fire burns like impurity? What hungry predator has the power to maim the body as impurity does to mutilate the soul? Can't you see the torture that the impure soul endures? It shrieks, I am burning, I am on fire, I do not know what to say or do, I am devoured by the miseries that possess me. Are not such cries the appeals of a soul in torment? Such a soul bears the body like a burden, as its master, not as its slave. And Ronaldo, FJ, what's up? Great to see you. Says, much love, my brother. Keep doing your thing. We appreciate the time and energy you put into this work. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Because I just like to hit these people with the knowledge. As they say, knowledge is power. So does that mean we're addicted to power? I don't know. Maybe that's above my pay grade. Either way, thank you very much. And I'm glad you are finding this to be beneficial. Tear off this cloak of shadows, this web of ignorance, these shackles of decay, this living death, this conscious corpse, this portable tomb, this robber in the house, this enemy that hates all that you love, this garment that smothers you and holds you down. Ignorance floods the land, its currents sweep you away. Don't be borne downstream. Make use of the backflow. Seek the safe haven of liberation. Anchor there and find a guide to lead you to the house of knowledge. There you will see with the heart the brilliant brightness. If you shut your soul up in your body and demean yourself, saying, I cannot know, I am afraid, I cannot ascend to heaven, then what have you to do with Atum? Wake up your sleeping soul. Why give yourselves to death when you could be immortal? You are drunk with ignorance of Atum. It has overpowered you, and now you are vomiting it up. Empty yourselves of darkness, and you will be filled with light. There is no greater mistake than to have the power to know Atum and not to use it. Simply wishing and hoping to know him is a road that leads straight to goodness. It is an easy road to travel. Everywhere Atum will come to meet you. Look, and he appears. At times and places when you least expect, while you are awake or asleep, when you travel by water or land, by night or by day, whilst you are speaking or silent. This is because Atum is all. And there you have it. Yeah, I can attest to that for sure. So at the risk of sounding like I'm tooting my own horn, see, that's why I say there's a difference in buying up what somebody's trying to sell you about what you should or shouldn't be doing versus if you're actually seeking truth, seeking God, seeking the realness of things versus just seeking comfort, seeking, I don't know, to feel special, seeking the nonsense. And oh boy, we've got some slick talkers. I'm talking slicker than a wet seal, baby. I'm talking slick out here if you're not careful, if you don't keep your head on a swivel, if you don't keep your eyes and your ears and all that open. We got some people out here that, oh, goodness gracious. Oh. But at a certain point, that's above my pay grade. That's destiny's job, as we read about today. That's the wheel of destiny. That's fate. That's all right. The way I look at it is if the majority of people fall for the silliness, but at least if I can help at least like one person other than myself to get past it, then I guess I've done a good thing. I would certainly like to see more people use those critical thinking skills. I would certainly like more people to see that a lot of people are a lot more concerned with their bank accounts than they are concerned with their fellow human beings. But what are you gonna do? You can just keep moving, keep putting in the energy and work, the time, like Ronaldo said, to giving this knowledge to people. Because I'll tell you what's going to help you to see through that knowledge, capital K. But like I said about the mechanic thing, right? I mean, if you don't know much more about your car than how to press the gas pedal and how to put more gasoline in it, then anytime any kind of crisis happens, you're going to go seeking out somebody who is going to help you fix that problem. And so very few people have a person who's going to genuinely help, and especially for like no money involved. But you might find some people, you might have some family, some friends who will certainly, I mean, you might still have to pay for the parts, but hey, just like you might still have to pay for certain books, you might still have to pay for a candle and some herbs, or I don't know, the ingredients to make like a holy water to take a purifying bath, whatever. You can, well, you guys can all sort it out, I'm sure. I don't want to ramble on about it too much. It's clearly not doing a whole lot of good from what I see. Maybe it is. Hard to know for sure, I guess. All I can know is I see patterns. I'm a real pattern. I'm a real prince of patterns. And oh boy, I see these patterns out here. And let me tell you something. A lot of people fall for a lot of nonsense. And it's worse that other people prey on that. But hey, God's plan. You know the song. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back to class B, and that's going to be lovely. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to get back to understanding our Bible, and I'm sure that's going to sync up very well with what we've been learning in this here Hermetica. And like I say, we should be able to finish this. I might need to actually re-record some of this. But if I do so, then I probably won't do it in a live stream. Maybe I will, but I might just record it on my own free time so that way I can still put it up. But that's still beside the point of that we will probably have only about one more session of this book. There's like four more chapters, I think. And considering we get through them pretty quickly, then that would also probably be a pretty short stream. But I think I've got potentially either a little more Crowley I can bring you, maybe a quick Tao Te Ching read, especially if I don't read the intro to the book I have and I just read through the Tao Te Ching, then that's easily like a 1 hour session. Or there's a couple other shorter documents, books, or well, maybe PDF I could print out or something that could be like a 1 to 2 session thing. We'll see how it goes. You know, we'll figure it out. We always do, huh? All right, then. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Much love to you all. Ronaldo FJ says, "Would you do Tatwa shooting?" I might be down to do that. Yeah, I might be down to do a reading of Tatwa shooting. That'd be pretty cool. That one is definitely a book that's worth reading along with doing the practices on for sure. So yeah, I would take that into consideration. That one's pretty short. But I try to also give other people some opportunities because I know that so that's why sometimes I maybe hold off on certain things because I don't know if that might be something that potentially anybody else is going to get into, but also I guess, it's not like it matters all that much. But yeah, I'll definitely take that one into consideration because I think that we could probably get through that one in a relatively quick time frame. Although the Tao Te Ching is fire. If none of you have dipped into the Tao Te Ching, that one is real good. So I do want to get that up here at some point. And then things like Upanishads, but I think I have a pretty strong feeling that my gnosis might actually hit us with a read of the Upanishads at some time in the near-ish future. But we'll have to see for sure on all that. I don't know. I don't know that anybody plans it out that far in advance, but something I just got one of those little itches, that he might want to do that. And so I would love to hang out with him while he does that. So we'll see. And I do want to also, so maybe actually we might fill in some of those days too by reading a book or two out of the Bible, since we're doing this Bible study and we might have some time to kill. And Ronaldo says, whatever you do will be appreciated. Well, thank you, Ronaldo. Great to know. I know the feeling. That's how I feel. Even if I try to hint and talk other people into, oh, you should do this book. Ultimately, I'm gonna be happy with just about whatever they choose. And if I really am unhappy with it, well, I'll probably still hang out because I enjoy the group sessions and the discussions. But I doubt I would be. I have yet to really come across anybody who's read anything that has made me say, what in the heck is going on? Okay. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Much love. This has been Jay Valdale. This has been the Hermetica. And tomorrow we'll be into Class B. Don't forget it. I'll see you there. Bye bye.